folks. You are listening to Yishai and Malkah on Israel National Radio. Welcome to the program. Malkah?
Thank you. It's good to be back. It's been a while.
And thank you for hosting us in your kitchen.
Yes, this is the kitchen meeting, and if you are watching us on one of our first ever videos, then you'll note that we are here in our beautiful kitchen. Here it is. But it's not going to be our kitchen for long, Yishai.
No, we are moving to Jerusalem soon.
We're moving to Jerusalem, so we have to say goodbye to beautiful Beit El, but we say hello, beautiful Jerusalem.
That's right.
And we will be happy to see all of you wonderful people when you come to the holy capital city of the Jewish people.
And we are moving actually to the eastern part of Jerusalem. Well, a lot of Jerusalem is the eastern part of Jerusalem. For example, Ramot and Pisgat Ze'ev, and a lot of neighborhoods that are completely settled by Jewish people, beautiful large communities with 250,000 Jews live in eastern Jerusalem. But we're going.
Does it really count as eastern Jerusalem? Is that the direction on the map?
Absolutely. You know, it's interesting you ask that. The word Eastern Jerusalem doesn't mean anything, really, because Eastern Jerusalem, or what was captured in 1967, includes Southern Jerusalem, Northern Jerusalem, and an eastern part of Jerusalem. If you want to see, actually, Malkah, I have a map. So, Malkah, as you could see, Western Jerusalem is this part, but Eastern Jerusalem is what was captured in 1967, so you have places like Ramot.
It circles it around like a big C.
Right.
To the right, if you will, of Jerusalem.
So, for example, Gilo, Talpiot, Har Choma, French Hill.
Right.
These are all.
It almost encircles it entirely, really. There's only like the western. If Western Jerusalem was like a square, then it would be on the top, the right, and the bottom, and only sort of the left is not considered Eastern Jerusalem according to the Jerusalem political map.
1967, our great city, our great capital, was reunited, and we were very happy, and we settled most of it, actually. That means we started living it. We started living in places like Ramot and Ramat Eshkol, in the Old City, of course, in the Jewish quarter in the Old City, in Talpiot, in Gilo, and Har Choma. The only place that we haven't really started living a normal life is in what's called the Holy Basin. And the Holy Basin is the area directly close, adjacent to the Temple Mount and the Old City quarter, the Jewish quarter, and we are moving to the Mount of Olives, which is exactly in that Holy Basin, as it's called, the Agan HaKadosh, and that's going to be very exciting. Here is the Old City, and it says the Mount of Olives right over here. We're going to be moving right over here to the Mount of Olives. I'm extremely excited. Malkah, you know who's a great supporter of Israel?
There's a great supporter of Israel?
Yes, the Canadian Prime Minister, Stephen Harper. And he is really, he's really out there on a ledge. You know, he's going out there. And I
remember when Canada used to be like really anti-Israel?
Yeah, sure.
And then this guy came in, totally changed things around.
You know, Malkah, I am going to be on a speaking tour in February and March in the United States and in Canada as well. I hope that I can go meet a representative, at least, of Stephen Harper, because I am extremely impressed. I want to read to you some of the lines that he has said. This is from Haaretz. Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper has affirmed his strong commitment to the state of Israel and the eradication of global anti-Semitism. And that's what he spoke about. And this is some of the quotes. He says, "When Israel, the only country in the world whose very existence is under attack, is constantly, consistently, and conspicuously singled out for condemnation, I believe that we are morally obligated to take a stand. Under the shadow of a hateful ideology with global ambitions, one which targets the Jewish homeland as a scapegoat, Jews are savagely attacked around the world. Not just because it is the right thing to do, but because history shows us, and the ideology of anti-Israel mob tells us too well, that those who threaten the existence of the Jewish people are in the longer term a threat to all of us."
Wow.
The point is that he's willing to stand up for people.
Wow, those are very strong words, especially when you juxtapose them to the words of different leaders who are coming out with statements, if not against Israel, then certainly against Israel's progress, Israel's prosperity.
So I was looking this up, the Stephen Harper quotes in Canadian newspapers. Malkah, the comments and the articles against Harper with vicious anti-Semitism were aplenty to be found on Google. And I was just like, whoa, this man.
Was there anyone coming out to support him except for like?
No. There was a reputable a newspaper, I think, out of Calgary that totally was like, we should applaud Stephen Harper for standing up so strong.
Good.
There's a divide there. There's definitely people on the right side of the issue, but there are definitely people on the other side of the issue. And the Holocaust is kind of back in the news. There's more Holocaust stuff happening right now, and there's a new project that's linking globally Holocaust documents. It's part of the European Union's research program called FP7, in which Israel is a partner. And it's called the European Holocaust Research Infrastructure, the EHRI, or ERI. No. The establishment of EHRI is especially important as different historical narratives are competing in Europe, said Avner Shalev, chairman of Yad Vashem, a partner in the project. Through EHRI, Europe is stating its understanding that the Holocaust has unique standing in the joint European historical narrative. Now, this is a huge project. It's going to cost millions. It's a $10 million project. It was launched a few years ago and is now kicking off, and they're going to be launching it today here in Israel. And it's global documents will be shared in all kinds of different languages, and there's a tremendous amount of infrastructure, as the name calls it, to help people find out more information about the Holocaust. And I'm thinking to myself, that's really great. That is really, really great. We're going to learn more about the Holocaust. But in the meanwhile, there are people who would perpetrate the Holocaust right now, here and now, and they're spewing their ideology. And we're looking at documents from 60 years ago. I think that there's been enough work done to really get a clear sense of what the Holocaust was, although there's still a lot of mystery, there's still a lot of stuff to learn. But what are we learning for? Are we being bookish at the cost of defending ourselves at this very time?
I mean, we have Holocaust survivors. They should live ad mei v'esrim until 120 years. We have Holocaust survivors living in Israel right now. And there are people very close to these Holocaust survivors who want to fire rockets on them and kill them in another act of violence and targeted anti-Semitism. So really, I mean, if anything, if you want to continue through the theme of the Holocaust, which is fine, protect the Holocaust survivors who are here in the land of Israel. Make sure they never have to feel a threat to their lives like that again. Make sure that they can live out the rest of their lives in peace and in security here in the land of Israel.
I just lament the bookishness at a time when the lessons of the Holocaust have to be implemented. It's not the time to be bookish, and it's not the time to study the Holocaust and what could it possibly have meant when there are people of the same ilk today.
Because people, Yishai, have a fear, I think, of making it emotional, and so they make it intellectual. And they would rather deal with the bookish end than with, theories of justice and, right and wrong and good and evil, I think. Maybe that has to do with it.
I think that they're afraid to look reality in the face. Meaning to say the Holocaust happened, there was a big horrible thing, but at least I can digest it because I'm far away from it. But if it's actually looking me in the face, it's looking me right in the face, it's staring me in the face, and other people would do the exact same thing, and they're very powerful, very serious, I don't want to look. As you said to me once, some people don't want a mirror right up to their face.
Right.
Well, I'm also very concerned about the fact that the State Department and the CIA and it turns out really the government of the United States, as opposed to the will of the people of the United States, is the biggest funder of the efforts to undermine Israel, and that is the creation of an Arab state in the land of Israel, in the homeland, in the state of the Jewish people. And there's over, I think if you do the accounting right, it's almost $1 billion a year of American support for that idea. And
we're going to talk about that a lot in the next half hour.
We will talk about that.
The new 90-day, 3-month building freeze that Bibi Netanyahu, Israel's prime minister, has agreed to.
That's right, but you are listening to Yishai and Malkah, Israel National Radio, broadcasting from our kitchen here in beautiful Beit El. My email is Yishai at Israel National Radio.
Malkah at IsraelNationalRadio.com.
And if you are interested in seeing us this winter, I will certainly be coming, and I hope Malkah will be in part of the tour as well on the Eye on Zion winter tour that is coming right up, eyeonzion.com.
It looks like if I want to see any kind of winter, I'm going to have to go to the United States.
God forbid. I hope you get totally snowed in here in the land of Israel.
Amen.
The Iranian mullah regime, which Malkah, 1 million Iranian expatriates who live in Los Angeles and other
Right.
places loathe,
really condemn
loathe.
it, and there's plenty of people inside Iran who condemn it, and they may have been able to overthrow this evil regime had it not been for the utter silence and tacit
Approval,
consent
right.
of the United States during last summer, not this summer, but last summer's uprising by the opposition to Ahmadinejad, and people were getting shot in the streets, if people recall.
You know how many?
And the United
many?
States,
Not a word. Zippo.
quiet. Thank you, Barack Hussein Obama.
Yeah, thanks for standing up for human rights when the people of the Middle
Nobel
East need
Peace
you.
Prize winner.
When the people of the Middle East are calling, they're saying, "Where's America to stand up for our democratic rights?" America is silent.
Silence.
Oh,
Silence.
when it's time to sell violent regimes $60 billion worth of arms, we're right there.
Right
says
there,
America.
has a lot to say.
There's
When
there's
Israel
no
wants
daylight.
to build some,
There's no daylight between Israel's security and America's interests and stuff. That's Joe Biden. I mean, please,
Wrong.
these people are selling billions of dollars so that the brown people of the Middle East can just blow each other up. Okay?
right, and America can continue to play Xbox.
Exactly. And I have no problem. And when I'm in America and I tell my Gentile friends about these issues and I say to them, you could do something about this, they say, okay, thank you for actually putting it on the table, not just saying, oh, we love each other. Thank you for pointing out where our country is misbehaving. What are we, naive? What are we unable to
Well, it's
assign?
not like, Americans are very good people. It's not like they want to be, complicit in
Far
these
from it.
horrible
Far
acts.
from it. They don't want it at all.
They don't want it. They don't want to have any part of it. They want to fight against it. And, you got to tell them what the truth is. I mean, here they think that America, always works in the best interest of Israel. They have to know that that's not true.
Exactly.
It's for their own good, for everyone's good.
And one of the things that needs to be exposed most of all is how Mahmoud Ahmadinejad is fighting against the interests of his people and is really the scourge of the Middle East. In Lebanon, in places like Bethlehem, where Christians are being decimated by Muslims, certainly in Iran, certainly in the Iran-Iraq war that 1 million people died. This guy is a horrible, horrendous person, and he is the scourge of the Middle East, certainly the scourge of the Jews, but more importantly, I think, to make it clear what's going on, he's the scourge of the Iranian people. And Iranian people who are outside of Iran say it loud and clear. Sometimes I talk to people about 3 times a year, pilgrimages to Jerusalem, and they say to me, and I talk about the state even sponsoring it, they say, oh, it's impossible, these are biblical dreams. I say, hello, my next door neighbors are making it happen for real.
Right, and they do. It doesn't have to be, air-conditioned tents is really great. That's a high level. But we can do much smaller things already to make things nice.
What? We're going to make it bigger.
No, but I'm
We're gonna
saying
make it more
to get
rockin'.
it started. Yes, we should make it more
Okay,
rockin'.
good. We agree.
I shouldn't aim low, I guess.
Don't aim low.
I'm not
Aim
gonna
high. Aim high.
Air-conditioned tents.
If our cousins in Saudi Arabia can do it, then the
Yes.
Jewish people in the land of Israel that have been waiting for 3,500 years to get back to this moment, we're going to do it just fine, Malkah. The Jewish
yes.
people cannot freeze or stop building in our homeland. It is the wrong thing to even contemplate. We should be accelerating. We should be doing exactly the opposite of this freeze. Okay, this is our homeland. This is our historic homeland. It's the homeland that was recognized clearly by international law from the San Remo Conference and on, ratified by the United States Congress, understood that certainly west of the Jordan River is the Jewish people's homeland, but it was supposed to be even the fraudulent made-up country of Jordan was supposed to be our land. So, we're not to slow down and to build. If the Arab world wants to build, they are very successful and they're doing great. And 3 million people come to the Hajj. They have 23 Arab countries, and God bless them. In our tiny little country, we have to hold strong. We have to build. We have to move it forward. Malkah, I want to thank you so much for letting us into your kitchen. And that's the end of our awesome videocast, audiocast, the Kuma cast, Ion Zion. We have basically Israel National Radio. Kuma is our company, and also the Ion Zion tour is coming to America.
And we put out things on YouTube from time to time, so
That's
you can
right.
always search for our names on YouTube and find us.
Right, and check out our Aliyah Revolution CD, which you can get for free with your $18 donation on Israel on kuma.org, kumah.org. And a lot more great stuff. So stay tuned. You are listening to Israel National Radio. You are watching the Kuma Cast. More great stuff is coming to you right here. Love you from Beit El. Shalom.
Shalom.
Thank you, Malkah, for being with us. Koach. Strength to the good people.
Happy Hanukkah.
And happy Hanukkah. Stay tuned. More great stuff.